A new Thursday and a new week here for the Prestige Cup Series. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead commentator and producer for tonight's race here. The Prestige Cup Series here from Iowa Speedway, the virtual Iowa Speedways. We're here for week 9 of the second season here for, once again, the Prestige Cup Series here from the Corn State here in Iowa, right here in the Midwest. But yeah, definitely an interesting track. I'm really looking forward to see what we can do here tonight from Iowa. Obviously, a little bit of a unique track here that we come to. Obviously, kind of has like a Richmond kind of feel to it, but also just it's so much different than anything we come to. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the key features as we get ready to get into your pre-race show, but can't wait to see how we start off week 9 here from Iowa Speedway. We'll go down the trackside to take a look at some of your fastest drivers on the track right now. We get ready to round out practice. About 8.5 minutes left in practice here from the Iowa Speedway. Travis Braithwaite top of the board currently at number 58. Machine for Cash Culp Racing. Jacob Brandon to 48. Hive Machine, you see him spinning down here in the 3 and 4. Dorian Davis in that 5 machine. New look for him in that Lumar machine on that 9 machine. Currently P3 and P4. 77. Wyatt Thompson in the Premier Setup Shops machine. Colby Duckworth back here in the 33 in this new Hendrick Cars machine. Good looking car for him, and see he'll come down pit side. Tyler Holmes in the 3. We will see him in kind of a throwback here. We'll go ahead and try to refresh our paints because I guarantee you that's not the paint that Tyler wants us to see here. So we'll go a little bit trackside here. And while we get ready to load in our paints, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Talk about our point standings here from going into week 9. Obviously, Tyler Holmes, Wyatt Thompson, Joseph Finwright, Max Ford have all won their way into the playoffs here. But looking into some of the actual points battles, Gabriel Ngoli currently on top of the non-winners, 278 points, 3 points behind him. Colby Duckworth back there in 6th in points. Carmela Echeverra right there on the tail as well, about 15 points back from goalie. Peter Hop back there in P8. Kendorian Davis P9. Jackson Brown P10. Jacob Bryant P11. Running out your top 12 right now in the cutoff to get into the playoffs. Nicholas Rode in that number 29 machine, 235 points. But has a sizable gap back to 13th of Isaiah Fox. 28-point lead here. And looking at the session right now, only 16 drivers on track. So even if Isaiah DNFs here early and gets last... No, if Nicholas would DNF and get last place points and Isaiah Fox would somehow win the race, he would still have to kind of dig his way out of a hole here. But Zachary Trevino back there in P14, 31 points behind. JJ Moore, 65 points out. And Luca Lewis currently 73 points out. And I'll say this, a big reason why a lot of these drivers are having to dig away out is because they missed a couple races, right? Obviously, JJ Moore kind of running part-time-ish here, so I'm not surprised to see that. But Luca Lewis, Zachary Trevino, I know have not made every start here in our first 9 races, and that's why they have to dig away out of a hole, right? Zachary Trevino looked really quick at the road course last week from Watkins Glen, but unfortunately didn't have the finish I think he deserved. Actually, I think he still had a good finish. I think he finished P2, but still, it's just hard to remember where he finishes because he doesn't give post-race interviews here on the channel, but is what it is. That's his own prerogative. But, Zachary Trevino needs to continue to show up at the very least, and then, when he does show up, have some good finishes. Right now, currently, Zachary Trevino not even in the session with 5 minutes left in practice, and obviously he has, an extra 5 minutes in qualifying to get his way in and start from the tail end of the field here if he decides to not set a qualifying lap time. But right now, the 8 of Trevino not on the track, not in the garage, not in the session yet. So it'll be interesting to see how that will all play out. If not, I can say with a pretty decent confidence that he's probably gonna have to win his way into the playoffs to get himself into a good spot. But we'll have to see here as we continue to count down practice here. We should have, drivers who have the right paint on. It still has Tyler Holmes in this number 3 kind of throwback scheme. Obviously, Darlington was last week, probably ran this for NIS and decided to leave it on here. Obviously, like a Dale Earnhardt inspired throwback. So, pretty cool to see 3 out here running that. Wyatt Thompson on track. Let's ride on board with the number 77 and see if you can show your lap around the Iowa Speedway. We'll go on board with someone else who's gonna stick out some laps here. Nicholas Roden to 29. Something that I talked about, it's a little bit unique to what it used to be here. You see these darker lines here on the racetrack, and those are from the repave that happened, what was it, 2 years ago. And it really changed the way you have to drive this track. I remember back in the day, you go up there and run that higher line, get a good run off the corners, besides that very top side that was super aggressive. And it would make it a little bit more difficult to run that line up there. But now it's really, you kind of have to get to that bottom side, and that's really all you have to do. Get down on the bottom, try to run it, try to wrap the corner, and that's it. You're making decent lap time up. Really, as long as you're in this darker lane here, you're in a good spot here. Like, you'll see him come up here, get it a little bit higher, but arc the corner, try to get a good exit out, but you can see that. Had to get out of the gas a little bit. We tried to set up on the exit of turn 4 here, but going down here once again, gonna try to get down to that white line. And then the gas and mark his way up. And I'll say something here, at least from when I was racing. I haven't raced here yet with this new aero package and everything else, but that seam out of 1 and 2, it got pretty loose because you're coming from like nice smooth paved asphalt to that old abrasive surface that Iowa's had for a while. You see right here, this little box right here that they'll come into out of the corner. At least when I raced it, it was upsetting the car a little bit. Like I said, I haven't raced with the new aero package. Obviously, we've bumped up to 750 horsepower here in the next gen, as well as, they took some aero out. If we ride on board once again with this 29, we'll see if we can get on this nose cam. Look at that, no rear diffuser on the back end of these next gen machines now. Obviously, you still see a little bit of air guidance from the bottom of the car, but no actual diffuser on the back of these cars anymore. Obviously, they still have to have that flat body and stuff because, a fun fact is about 75% of the downforce on these cars are made on the underbody, getting that clean air and just getting as much, downforce to the car as possible. Back in the day, a lot of the downforce came from on top, on the greenhouse and the aerodynamics of the car. Now with this flat underbody, it's really made it a lot different here in the next gen machine, to where a lot of the aero is made underneath the car, and that's what actually makes these next gens a lot more planted than the O'Reilly machines or the Craftsman Truck Series machines or the Arkham Nard Series machines, because they don't have the diffuser, they don't have that flat underbody, right? They have all the, on every other car, they just have all the parts of pieces just hanging, mounted up on the body underneath the car. Versus this next gen that just has a flat piece of, carbon fiber that, helps with the aerodynamics of this thing. Definitely made it a lot different here. You see practice getting wrapped up here. Travis Prather in that 58 will be your fastest of practice for tonight here, week 9 from Iowa. But we'll get ready to go into qualifying here and see where everybody lines up here to start your race here from Iowa Speedway. Grab some drivers out on track right now. Let's go ahead and grab Carmelo in this 81 as he already started his lap a little bit. Oh, a little. You see him warming up the tires here on this out lap, I think. He gets ready to start his first time lap. Oh, he's going to get loose here. Not what we want to see on that first time lap. Probably slow it down here. Go to Gabriel Ngoli. That was his second time lap, but first, I think that, no, this is his second lap here, actually. My apologies. Right now, currently goalie top of the board with that 22.6. Now here comes Colby Duckworth in the 33, 22.338. We got some big hitters who needs to come out here and set a lap time, so good to see. Christian Zarate. Remember, I don't know if it's his internet or what, but he's had some like kind of blinking issues, and it's not allowed a lot of these lap times for this 99 machine, or really technically the 19 machine. We're gonna call it the 99 because that's what we see on the car. I don't see any blinks out of this lap here. We'll see. Zarate. E6. 22.5. Dorian Davis coming out of pit road. First time lap time here for the 9 machine. Coming into 3 and 4. Good exit right now. Good entry through 3 and 4. Good exit. Coming across the stripe. First lap for the 9. 22.3. Good enough for P2. Not enough for Colby Duckworth yet, but still has another lap. See if he can improve right now. Sitting in the green, sitting in the purple, just floating right there. He's a good 3 and 4. Like he might get it here. In the green still. There it is. $22.204 for Kendoing Davies. He takes the pull away. Tyler Helms on his first time lap. Helms, 22.509. Probably not the best lap he wanted out there, but still has another time. Go another lap around here. In the green currently. Across the line. 2.8. Enough for P4 for the number 3 machine. Jacob Bryant. Trying to get his last laps in while he gets the opportunity to. Should have enough time to get both down. I think he gets the outside wall there before he hits the line. See if he can make it back. Time to make a valid lap. Last lap was a 22.7, but did not keep it out of the wall. He'll have plenty of time actually here. 22.4. Actually, right on the dot. Matched that first lap that he hit the wall on. So, but that'll be good enough for P8. Looks like the bottom 4. Joseph Enright, Peter Hoppy, Jackson Brown, JJ Moore deciding not to set a lap time here in qualifying. Just like that. And Dorian Davis, Wyatt Thompson take top of the board here. They'll be your front row here for 150 laps here from Iowa Speedway. We'll wait on these drivers to get their setups in, get ready to Get ready to go here. Once again, 150 laps here from Iowa Speedway. Stage will be on lap number 45. For the winner go home. 150. Powered by Iowa Corn Farmers. We have 5 sets of tires, including the set of tires they have on tonight. One fast repair, obviously 150 laps here. 80% fuel and in a stage caution on lap 45. You see Barney the Flagman getting ready to do his due diligence and his duties for tonight's race. Go trackside here to get your starting lineup here, presented by High Velocity TV. See most of the cars out on track. Let's go ahead and get that starting lineup here. Looking Norton Davis alongside Wyatt Thompson going to be row 1 here from Iowa. Colby Duckworth, Tyler Helms, the 2 teammates going to round out row 2. Isaiah Fox in 09 alongside Carmelo Echeverra in 81. Gordon Fisher in the 14 going to be P7 alongside Jacob Bryant in that 48 with that 22.479. Rounding out the top 10, Gabriel goalie Nicholas Rode in the 29. Back there in P11, Christian Zarate, Jack Stanley, main goalie P13, Travis Prather back there P14, and the rest of the field decided not to set a lap time. Tonight looks like JJ Moore not going to race tonight, going to be your race control. But Joseph Enright, Peter Hoppy, Jackson Brown going to round out the rest of the field. You can look at your race weather for tonight's race. 65-degree air temperature, 67-degree track temp, so a nice cool night here from Iowa Speedway. 95% humidity, so very, very humid tonight. 6-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the northeast, and partly cloudy skies here from Iowa. So definitely going to be an interesting race, and obviously kind of interesting conditions for tonight's race. Once again, 150 laps from Iowa. You do see lights off on the pace car, which means we'll be going green. 150 laps for week 9. Iowa Speedway. Blue collar track, blue collar state. We're ready to go. We're going to hand the race off to Barney the Flagman. And we'll be getting ready to go green here for week 9. Across the stripe, can Norton Davis lead your first laps here from Iowa? See Wyatt Thompson back there to 77, following pursuit, trying to chase down his line machine, but Tyler Helms already up one spot. Going to try to be aggressive. He's going to try to take this top 3 away. Everybody already kind of spread out here, just a little bit. We'll battle back here outside the top 10, side by side. The 15, that's the technically the 19. Christian Zarate gets passed by the 15 of Hayden Goldie. See back there, still side by side further on back. That's the 57. Joseph Enright getting around the 95. Jack Stanley. Jack Stanley already down 3 positions from where he started, so just trying to save his equipment right now. Remember, has that stage caution, but further up front, Colby Duckworth going after the 3 machine. Helms, Duckworth, 1 and 2. Duckworth, remember, quick at practice. Already driving his way up to the field. I don't think he had the qualifying run he wanted there out of the Hendrick Cars machine. But already a lot of pressure on the 77. Here he comes after the P2 as Wyatt Thompson tries to hold on here on lap 6. Side by side out of 3rd and 4. The 77 with a decent run off the top. Going to try to keep this balance ensuing. A little bit of door contact. 77 trying to hold strong here on this top side. Going to continue to have the run off the exits. 33 is going to have to drive it in a little bit deeper. Going to have to make up for it on entry. Right now, the 77 holds on. That's allowed the 9 to get a little bit of a cushion on these 2 behind him as they battled out for this podium position. Currently right now, Wyatt Thompson holds on the P2. Try to get away a little bit from the 33 of Duckworth. And now if I'm Colby, right, he's driven up through the field a little bit here, back up to that P3 starting position. If I'm him, just settle in for a little bit, right? You know, you've got a fast car. You went and drove around, you know, one of the most dominant cars in the series in that 3 of Tyler Helms. You know, Tyler's done so well, he's already locked himself into the playoffs on points, yet less, you know, even if he had a win. So let's say we were using the chase format here in the Prestige Cup Series. It still wouldn't matter. He would have already locked himself into the, you know, postseason based off points. So the fact that the 33 got around that 3 with these, and these front 3 have actually started to drive away a little bit from, you know, Tyler Helms. Now, if I'm Tyler, I don't know, maybe if he's saving a little bit of stuff here, or maybe just he hasn't had this setup figured out. Remember, this isn't the fixed set. You know, the Prestige Cup Series has partnered with Premier Setup Shops, so this is a custom set. It's not an open set league, but it is a custom set that they go to every week here for the Prestige Cup Series, since we got on board with Tyler Helms. So it is a little bit different to like the fixed set that maybe a lot of these guys are used to driving. And usually when you have these, you know, custom sets that these drivers are used to, they're usually a little bit more free. They usually promote a little bit harder pushing than that fixed set. The fixed set always kind of builds tight everywhere you go. Well, I know a lot of these custom sets, they are already set up kind of out of the box a little bit, you know, with a little bit more rotation in the cars, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, I feel like. If you're used to, you know, the fixed set that's a little bit more snug, that really, you know, rewards you for saving the right front, versus a lot of these, you know, open set stuff that allows us to reward you for maybe saving the right rear a little bit. A little bit of a battle going on behind here. The 15 of goalie gets around Joseph Enright in the 57. You've seen this 15. He's starting to navigate and find, you know, maybe some different places to run here early in this run, and I don't mind that. Remember, you're getting a caution on lap 45. Go around and search around for grip to see what lane works better. And you saw, you know, he ran that higher line this one lap. Now he comes down here and runs the bottom and kind of arcs the corner. If I'm this 15, I really like what I'm seeing out of Hayden. Trying to search around to find a grip. Trying to search around to see where his car drives best, right? He's made up 3 spots from the start, up inside the top 10. So I really like what I'm seeing out of Hayden here, trying to search around, trying to figure out, you know, where he can put his car maybe later in the race. Besides that, Really, everybody kind of separated out here. This is by far the closest battle here. Jackson Brown under fire from the 83 of Peter Hoppy. Hoppy going to try to duck it down underneath, but the 31 should have a decent run off the corner. It's going to be difficult for some of these guys to make the pass on a bond with just a new horsepower package. I think it makes it easier for that top side to kind of drive it off the corner to try to maintain, you know, the spot here. But you saw the 31 get up in an outside wall, a little bit wide here in the 1 and 2. I think that should allow Peter Hopp to get clear and put him up inside the top 12. He goes after the 57 now of Enright. So the Jackson Brown up inside the outside wall once again, and I'll probably put him in vulnerable spot for Baby Zerati to take advantage here. Peter Hoppy trying to drive his way inside the top 10. Going to look underneath the 15 to goalie. Backs out of it. Goalie with a good run off the top there to keep the spot for now. But team goalie, he's been up here and running this higher line. I think right now the bottom is just a little bit quicker. You know, maybe when that top rubber's in, I think maybe you could see that top lane starting to work a little bit better. But right now, I mean, you got to have some cars to go up there and run the top to get the rubber in there. You see him in an outside wall just a little bit. That'll allow 83 to get side by side in 1 and 2. Hoppy gonna park it up there on the nose of the 15. He'll get clear. Make him put himself up inside the top 5, inside the top 10. My apologies. Up 6 spots where he started. So good run out of the 83 right now. Hopefully he's not burning that stuff up driving through the field. And Norian Davis continues to lead. Took the pull. Isn't giving away the lead yet, but at 77 of Wyatt Thompson has not let him get away. Go right there and strike you to edge. If the 9 would make a mistake. See everybody kind of trying to find their own pace here for now. Closest battle goalie, Echeverra. Back here for P6. Pulling the 55, trying to hold on here, but starting to get ran down by some of these guys behind the 81, the 48 of Jacob Bryant. Right within, you know, striking distance here. If a mistake would happen out of the 55. I don't think we'll see a mistake out of Gabriel, though. He's a very, I would say, passive driver. He's not really aggressive. He, you know, when we've talked to him up here in the podium positions, every time we've asked him how he's got up to the front, it's always like maintaining the car and making sure you're not doing anything stupid to put yourself in a bad spot. And he does a really good job at it. Keeping it clean, keeping it, you know, consistent almost, right? That's exactly what you need to do. You continue to build up these good finishes. Remember, he's leading the non-winners here in the playoff points here. 71 points above the cutoff. And he already has a last one provisional there for last place points. So he's one of only 2 drivers who are using up those provisionals. Him and Carmelo, the car behind him, actually, are the only 2 of using those last place sports provisionals. So Big battle further behind. Echeverria actually starting to get right now by the 48, one of those Hive Motorsports machines, Jacob Bryant. And Bryant has his teammate Hoppy, who will probably try to reel his way into this battle. Echeverria. See this battle so here for the P6 position. Echeverria underneath the 55. A little bit of a lift out of the 48. They're going to drive it in there. Foley not going to be able to use the crossover move. Put that 81 up in the P6. Wyatt Thompson has closed the gap a little bit on your race leader of Kent Norian Davis. I think off the bat here, obviously this is kind of I feel like a learning grace kind of period here for all these drivers, trying to figure out the setup if they haven't had a lot of practice. Obviously race pace and, practice is a lot different. And obviously in practice you can set up the car and do whatever you want to. You can practice qualifying, you can practice long runs, you can practice short runs, whatever you need to, right? But here in the race is where it's all going to count. Right now it looks like, at least here in this first stage, 77 and 9 look like the two fastest cars. Colby Duckworth back there in third, about a second and a half off the pace, and another second back is that number 3 of Helms. So very, very wide diversity and of kind of pace here. And you see further back, almost 2.5 seconds behind the 4th place car of Helms is the 14 of Fisher. The first car, the last car in this, top 5. See that number 14. Ford Fusion, Ford Mustang. Watching some TOT races before we came into the broadcast booth. So we're counting in on 10 laps to go. 77, 9 still batting it out for the lead. We'll probably leave it here. They actually start to catch a lap car. I think that's the 99. That's the Roddy in the 99. I think that is. They've actually already put Jackson Brown a lap down here. The lap traffic already a factor here in this first stage. But Davis will get clear of the lapper. Roddy backs out of here on corner entry. That might slow up to 77 a little bit. I think it did. Now the 77 and this 99 will go side by side here in the 3 and 4. I imagine you'll see Zarate probably try to just let him go. He kind of did, but probably not as much as I think the 77 wanted here. 77 lost a good 3 or 4 tenths. Having to try to navigate around the lap car. Now he's got to try to chase down a 9 machine who's still within striking distance, but obviously time lost is time lost, and hard to make up time here later in these tire runs. He's still right there, ready to pounce. I honestly think that the 77 has just a little better car right now than your race leader, but he's been able to keep up even with the dirty air, keeping it within 2-3 tenths. That's pretty hard to do, but once again, it's one thing to get there, it's one thing to pass. So I just think, you know, we're coming in on, you know, 3 to go. I'm the 77, you know, you kind of put this down in your notebook. Okay, this is what I did good. This is what I need to work on here throughout the race. But, I mean, this is a good effort by the 77 at least, you know, keep this 9 within striking distance here as we continue to count down laps here in stage 1. We'll go 2 to go here in stage 1. Knowing Davis is doing, you know, two more clean laps. And he'll get another stage 1 under his belt. And this is something that Kendorian needs. Phil hasn't been able to find victory lane here in the first 8 races. But showing this kind of speed early really shows that this might be his race to lose. Now 95 trying to stay on the lead lap. We'll see. Can he do so? And 9 will get across, and that should put the 95 on as the lucky dog. So that's exactly what Christian Zarate did not want to see. But Noe Davis crossed the stripe. He'll win stage 1. Mike Thompson will come home P2. Duckworth, 3rd. I think they're just waiting on everybody to get across the line there as they do. Joshua Lave and Dorian Davis, stage 1 winner.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
We welcome you back. Saw the 3 machine of Tyler Holmes. He's going to drop through the field here early. Maybe had some damage at the fix, but we saw the 9 and Dorian Davis win the race off pit road. Wyatt Thompson, Colby Duckworth, Jordan Fisher, your fast 4. Yeah. I don't know if Tyler had some damage he needed to fix here, but obviously not ideal situations here to start stage 2. He'll start back there all the way, back there in P10. So, be interested to see if the 3 can get back to track position. He hasn't been the race-winning car at least in this first stage that we've seen throughout, throughout the season, and be able to drive up through the field, drive up inside, the top 2 or the top 3. Kind of stayed right there planar in that P4 position during stage 1. We're getting ready to go back green here from Iowa Speedway. You'll see those front 2, the 77 and 9. By far the 2 quickest drivers there in stage 1. Norton Davis, your race leader, chose the top side here on this restart to start stage 2. See if that is a good choice for the 9 machine, or if the 77 is going to get a good jump off the corner here. But you see the pace car take a hard left turn down pit road. Going to be the 77 and the 9 machine. And Dorian Davis with a good jump. He leads us back to green. To the top 3, get single file. First battle on track is at 83, going after the 29, but further up here, got a 77, under pressure from the 33. Colby Duckworth up inside the top 3 once again. Here they're back. Hoppy going after the 3 of, actually it's Holmes going after the 3 of 83 of Hoppy. Remember, Tyler not with the best pit stop, or had to, whatever, extended time in the pit stall. Having to be aggressive to get back to the field. Further up, the 33, Duckworth. A little bit of pressure on the 77 of Thompson here. Remember, Duckworth, we knew, had a good fire-off car, but kind of fell back off the pace here when we started to run out the laps. It started to see, who had the best long-run pace. It was not this 33. Right now, the 33 showing some pace here early as the sun starts to set. But underneath the 77 right now. The 77 is going to have to hold tough on this top side. Oh, contact between the 2. I think Colby didn't want to do that. I think he backed up there to give the 77 the spot. Going to try to get around him a little bit differently. Going to try to do it cleanly, I think, is what that 33 wants to do. So he'll drop back once again, back to that P3 position. That's giving it a little bit of a cushion to the 77. Maybe Thompson can maybe try to focus that attention back to the 9 of Davis. And Dorian just doing a fantastic job. He's led every lap of the race so far. He's just done a good job managing this pace, right? Remember, I don't know, maybe he used the stuff up, or maybe just pushed it up to know he was going to get that caution on lap 45. But did a good job managing the pace, kept the 77 behind, but here comes the 77, use that top side, get a good run off the corner. Now he's really within striking distance of this Iron Machine. Trying to get to that right rear of the 9, not going to make it happen. This is going to be the cat and mouse game we're going to see all night from this line in 77. Because remember, at least it looked like the 77 had a little bit better long run pace. But once again, is that because the 9 knew he only had to get to lap 45, or is it because he just, naturally wore off the tires a little bit worse than the 77? Does the 77 push a little bit harder this run to try to take advantage of that, right? And if he does the tires wear out a little bit faster for the 77 versus the 9 with the clean air? It's just such a cat and mouse game here with these two cars that are pretty equal to each other. Now, if the 77 can get out here in front pretty quickly here, if he wants to try to make that happen, I think the 77 has a little bit more of an advantage. We saw that he had a little bit better long run on that first run, which was 45 laps, which is quite a bit of laps here from Iowa. I mean, it was literally almost a 1/3 mark of this race here for the Iowa winner go home 150, and it's gonna be interesting to see. Can Norton back off his pace a little bit and just try to hold on here and try to make the 77 burn up his stuff, right? Or does he just continue to do what he's been doing and just trying to manage the race, trying to make sure that he keeps the lead here? When I have the lead here, especially really in any league race, I just try to maintain a gap. Unless you need to drive away and get away as quickly as you can, what I tend to do is get the lead, just manage that gap and make him get back to you, right? And as soon as he starts to make some dividends, then you push just a little bit harder to get back away. Then you get back into a rhythm, get back into kind of that pace that you feel comfortable running. And it makes it really difficult for everybody behind you to catch back up unless they genuinely, might have a little bit more talent or just have a little bit more life out of their car, right? But these top three have been lights out. Jordan Fisher already a second and a half behind these top three. And it's really been those top three who have been lights out all night. And everybody else behind is trying to race, to get this top 5 position. Steve Fisher back there in 4th. Tyler Helms in P5. Nicholas Road up 4 spots here in 6th place spot. Maybe he can try to run down those 2 cars in front. Get himself a top 5 finishing position. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news for the Isaiah Fox. Everybody out here, but he's out early. I don't know, maybe something happened. Hopefully everything's okay in the 09 camp, but already 28 points back. Behind the car you're looking at now in this 29 of Nicholas Road. And that cap is going to continue to go down unless maybe the 29 gets wrecked out early. And it's going to put him back there in points, but now currently sitting back in the P6 position. That's going to be pretty good points for this 29 machine, especially versus that 09 who's going to get who's actually going to get last place points unless someone gets like DQ'd or something like that in a post-race penalty. Gabriel Goli trying to hold off Travis Prather in the 58. Remember, Prather was quickest at practice regardless. I think that was a wall ride lap, but still, you have to say it. Fastest in practice, did not have the qualifying run he wanted, but up 7 spots. Actually, I don't think this car made a qualifying lap, so just had to drive his way up from the back. And we'll get around the 55, up into the P7 position. I'm going to try to run down the 29. Battle for them back as well. Peter Hoppy. No, that is not a battle. That is the 99 Maserati, who's already gone one lap down, currently the lucky dog candidate. If we get a caution, expect a little bit more pace out of 99. If I'm not gonna lie, and we know Zerati can show pace here when he gets it down. I guess. Remember, I will say this. You know, some of these guys who you expect to be quick, who might not. Remember, new aero package, new, you know, horsepower in these cars, and it might take some more people a little bit more time to figure out how to be consistent, how to be quick, how to run, you know, good laps here with this new aero package. So, you know, someone like the 99 of Zerati, who have won races here in the Prestige Cup Series, looks like it might be taking him a little bit more time to get acquainted with this new aero package. Back up to the front. Still going to be the 77 and the 9. Still trying to figure out who's going to lead this race. Who's going to take advantage and take position here as we approach halfway here in tonight's race. These two have been lights out all night. Oh, you see the 77 at the outside wall. By far the two fastest cars, the two best cars tonight. The load here from Iowa. Obviously, Duckworth, really good run for him in the 33, but we saw had a lot of firehouse speed. But as we've gotten this long run, as the laps have gone on, the pace has started to go away compared to the top two. And in O-Man's lane right now, he's got about a second and a half to the car, but in front, and a little over a second and a half to the car behind, and Jordan Fisher back there in the 14. Right now, you know, if I'm the 33, if you know you don't have the pace to keep up with these guys, I'm okay, you know, sitting back here by myself, not really a lot of dirty air to affect the way this car is. Just run out laps. Try to keep the tires underneath you. You never know. These guys up in front of you could make contact, could get together. Something could happen. To put yourself back into the ball game. But right now, that's not happening right now. Actually, Cadorian has pulled a little bit of a gap on the 77 of Wyatt Thompson. We did see that 77 get up in an outside wall out of 4. You might have to start to think, maybe it's the 77 using stuff up a little bit more in the 9, right? To try to get to the back end of him. I'll say this, it definitely does hurt the tires, right? When you make a mistake like that, you have to push, right? To get back to whoever you're trying to get to. Because that guy in front is just running his same pace versus you have to maybe run a little bit harder to get back to the car in front. And that 77 has already dropped that down on the corner exit, at least underneath 3/10. You see the different lines that these drivers are running. See the 77 about half a lane higher throughout the whole corner there. Turning 4, looking into 1 and 2. Actually, see the 77 about, you know, half a lane lower into 1 and 2. And what I really think the 77 doing is just trying to search around for clean air and get back to the 9. And in these sections, all you need is like that little bit of a fender out to get that clean air. That's all you need. What I want to talk about, we missed it. Looks like potentially Hayden Goalie might have crashed a little while ago here. We can see what happened to the 15 machine. Loose it up, overcorrects up into the outside wall for the 15 machine. You see that right foot completely broke it off there. He's gonna try to, I presume he probably lips it down the pit road here. Because we did not get a caution for this. But yeah, I saw, you know, in the background, the 3 of Tyler Helms got passed by that 15 machine of Hayden Goalie up here. He's actually gotten around your 2 race leaders. I noticed that, yeah, that wasn't a card, and I looked down, and he was miraculously 21 laps down. Which is unfortunate. We saw, you know, him drive up inside the top 10 for a brief moment. But Iowa will bite you. Saw him get loose out of turn 4 and trying to save it, and then finally grabs him, and he overcorrected to the outside wall. And that's something that happens here at Iowa a lot. This car could be so touchy here, when you're, especially on exit, right, with this new horsepower. You have that extra, you know, 150 horsepower here at these short tracks. When you get on the power too early, that car will try to slide around and dance around on you on exit and call it fight this 15. You know what? Good for Hayden. You know, obviously, you know, he's 18 now, 21 laps down. Obviously needs something big to happen to, you know, make up some spots. But good for him to continue to stick it out here, run out these laps, try to get some more points, hope for some more calamity here in this race. I've seen some drivers come down pit side here already. 57. That's Joseph Enright. He made his pit stop 3 laps ago. Went 2 laps down, but will have by far the fastest car on the track. You'll see him get around your 2 race leaders here, and you'll see him pull away in a very rapid pace with these fresh Goodyear Eagles. And, you know, I don't know, you know, how much they could go. Obviously, you know, talking to the admins, they usually try to throw, you know, the first stage out around a fuel run. And we've gone 46 laps now on fuel. So interesting to see how they're going to set this up. Now, if these drivers could go, you know, maybe 5 more laps, I think that's a good thing to kind of split it here 50-50. You know, a 50 lap run here out of stage 2, and then a 50 lap run here to the end. I feel like that's what you might see some people do. But Tyler Helms down pit side. He'll be the first of these top 5 guys to come down pit side. And he'll have to do 55 laps here at the end for the end of this stint. So you'll see him come down pit side. Like Annoying Davis. Wyatt Thompson right now. Continuing to stay out here. Owen Fisher coming out of pit road here. Remember, he was running inside the top 5 as well. And for the love of the game, please keep it green here. Because a caution would really destroy a lot of drivers' races tonight. Obviously, we have some guys who are going to be trapped a lap down until your race leaders come down pit road. So please just try to keep it green here, everybody. I'd love to see how this pit cycle works out here. I think Wyatt Thompson coming out pit road. He will. Here comes also Colby Duckworth at the 33. So the 77 and the 33 decide to throw in the towel. And they're going to come in on lap 98. So now what does Goodorian do? Obviously, he's got some lap cars. He's not going to be able to pit this time. Some of these guys with fresher tires kind of made it a little bit more difficult for him to pit if he wanted to. Look at the speed difference here. If I'm the 9, I'm coming down as quickly as I can. The 9. They're 3 and 4. Gonna stay out one more lap. I'm surprised that the 9's doing this. Obviously, we saw how equal the 77 was to the 9. If I'm the 9, I would have reacted off the 77 with how your guys' pace were so similar. The 77 is going to have a bigger advantage here. I feel like as long as he didn't make a mistake, he's going to have the advantage here, but I'm interested to see how long this 9 is willing to go. Like, if I'm someone like Prather who hasn't shown the best speed, yes, I'm going to go as long as I can and hope for a caution, trap these guys a lap down. But if I'm Kendorian, you are one of the top 2 cars. You don't have to do this. You don't have to strategize this to potentially put yourself in harm's way, because now the 77 is going to have a huge jump on you when you decide to make that turn down the pit road. And it's going to be up to you to go drive back down that 77 if you have the tires to do so. Right now it's the top 4 arriving pit. The top 5, my apologies for having come out pit side. Davis, Prather, Oppie, Echeverra, Jacob Bryan back here in the 48. Still need to come down and take their last pit stop for the night. And with how short Iowa is, everybody who pits, right, will lose a lap to whoever the leader is. But we've seen everybody outside of the 99 Maserati get their lap back the hard way here. So everybody's still trapped 1 lap down, as you see on the left side of your screen, led by the 77 of Wyatt Thompson. But how long does it take for them to get back up here? The Wyatt right now currently going into turn 3 and 4. And Dorian going through 1 and 2 here. And comparing lap times right now, the last lap for Kedorian in that number 9 machine at 24.4. Wyatt Thompson at 22.8, so almost 2.5 seconds quicker a lap compared to the 9. Wyatt Thompson worked his way up here. We'll try to see if we can do a lap to lap. Yeah, I figured that wasn't going to work. Yeah, Wyatt Thompson only about a straightaway behind your race leader and is catching very, very quickly. See if we can even see your race leader here on the track. There he is right there, going into 3 and 4. Get that red car, not the bright red one, but the car in front. That is your race leader of Kedorian Davis. He has a whole gaggle of cars behind him. Going to try to get through with these fresh tires. And the more he stays out, the longer he stays out, the more time he loses. The whole field, not just the P2 of Thompson. Thompson will take your race lead away. Is Davis, did he just blink? No. I thought he might have alt F4 or something. No, a little blink out of the 9. But if a caution comes out here, he's got the whole field to trap down. Not just, not like most of the field. He has the whole field trapped a lap down. But Wyatt Thompson is coming, and he's catching up quick. That's your race leader right there on that car on the bottom side. And here comes the 9 down pit road. So Kedorian Davis will finally take the hard left turn on pit road. And I have a feeling this 9 car might go a lap down here. Remember, you're going to lose 2 laps And the Thompson machine almost unlapped himself the hard way there. So look here. Here comes Thompson at the stripe here. And Dorian hasn't even just entered his pit box. So he will definitely lose the race lead. For sure. Now the current battle for the lead is Helms and Thompson Thompson has a 4.5 second lead here. Can Dorian Davis out of his pit box now. So he's going to come out. He's about 3/4 of a lap down here. Now he did definitely shorten up this run here at the end. We approached 40 to go, now 39 to go. So Davis has 15 seconds to catch up. Now he does have 15 lap pressure tires. So do you think, now he's got 15 seconds to catch up. That means for every lap that Thompson stayed out, he's going to give up a second, right? So doing the math, and Dorian Davis has to be about 2.5 seconds quicker a lap for the whole race to get back to the 77 here. I don't know if it's possible here. I mean, just looking now, he's only about a second a lap quicker. So my apologies. I did the math wrong. So with 35 to go, he needs to be about 0.3 of a lap quicker, which he's definitely doing. So he will definitely get to the race leader here in time. But once again, does he get held up by lap traffic? Oh yeah, as you see right there, the 14 really slow in front of him. That's going to give up some time. And once again, he's got 34 laps to get up there. If I'm Thompson, I'm backing up my runs. I'm saving as much tire as I can. You have no pressure behind you from Tyler Holmes in P2, right? I mean, you have this lap car in the 57 of Enright who's going to give you pressure. Just let him go, honestly. Just pull over. Let this 57 go. You got to save tire here. So when Davis gets to you, you can fight for him for this race win. Now, I'm not saying give up a ton of time to where you're just going to let that 9 get to you, but he's already down underneath 10 seconds here with 32 to go. When he came out of pit road 7 laps ago, it was 15 seconds. So if I'm the 77, I'm just going to try to save as much tire as I can, try to save the equipment, because Dorian Davis has a really good shot to get back to you as long as he can keep the tires underneath him. Obviously, he has to, drive through this field pretty quickly and hope that, the tire fall off doesn't kind of equal out here in these last 30 laps. But he's got some cars in front of him here with the older tires. He should easily be able to get around them. But obviously, these guys aren't, like I said, these guys are not just going to pull over. This is for position. These guys aren't lap cars. These guys aren't, obligated to pull over. These guys are racing for position up here. And you saw the 29. But a pretty egregious block on that 9 machine. So the 9 will have to go up to the top side. He'll make the pass, but that's more time lost. To the 9. Usually get around this 38, this 58 here. We'll set sights on P3, Colby Duckworth. in Duckworth right now. I expected him to be a mainstay top 3 guy that we talked to 9 race, but you see a little bit of left front damage to that car. Probably affecting the way that car is handling. That's allowed Tyler Holmes to move up into P2, but obviously we know this 9 catching very quickly here. I don't see these guys giving him a lot of trouble. Getting a 9 underneath. 33. He'll set his sights on now Tyler Helms. I will say this though, 26 to go. Lap times have started to level out though. 23-2 for Kenorian Davis at 23-8 for Wyatt Thompson. So about half a second quicker now. Remember, it was about a second and a half. It's already shrinking down to about half a second faster. Still, you know, he's faster. Gonna have to navigate around Tyler Holmes, and Tyler will give it to him. Now we'll just have to look on the left side of your screen to see how much this gap shrinks here with 25 to go. Does Kendorian have enough time? Does he have enough tire to get back to the 77? Let's run on board with the 77. I want to see what he's doing here to try to maintain this lead. You see him in the outside wall there, but you see him, he's in this 3rd gear. Go back on board versus Kendorian Davis. Honestly, I think the 77 is setting himself up for success because the lap times keep getting closer and closer and closer. 23.7 last lap for the 77 machine versus a 23.7 for Kendorian Davis. A 7 flat versus a 7.9, so the 77 inching closer to the 8s versus the 9 who's inching closer to the 6s, but I mean, we're within the same 10th now. Obviously, we see some lap traffic here for the 77. This will slow him down probably a little bit. So now it's a 9.3 versus a 7.3, right? 2/10 got cut into that gap, but he's got 4 seconds now. It's not 2 seconds. It's not, you know, a second and a half. It's 4, closer to 5 seconds now that he's got to catch up here. 20 to go. But Kendorian can still be on pace. He's got to make about 2.5 tenths a lap to catch the 77. But and now he's not 2.5 tenths quicker a lap. He's about a tenth and a half, right? That's not going to be enough to get back to the 77 machine. Obviously, a P2 finishing will be good in the points. Obviously, he won stage 1. But I think this 9 wants to get in the victory lane so bad. Right? He's been in positions to actually get that first win of the season, and just things have not gone his way. Kendorian 2/10 quicker that lap. You start to see it. It's starting to level out. We haven't really seen the 9 get underneath 4 seconds here. A across the stripe. That's really where I'm basing this off of, is across the stripe. So you got him, finally got inside the threes. But with 15 to go, you know, the way the math works is the longer, the fewer amount of laps left to go, the more time he has to make up per lap. And I just don't think he has it in the tank anymore to get back there. He was actually slower that lap than than Wyatt Thompson. Thompson ran at 23.8 and at 23.9 for Kendora Davis. Yeah, I was very perplexed to see the 9 do this strategy. Obviously, we knew that the 9 and the 77 was by far the 2 best cars tonight, but I was perplexed to see this because the 9 had the worst long run car. So you figured he would react to the 77 and try to just stay with him, right? We know Wyatt. He knew he would have a huge advantage here. Once the 9 came out of pit road, all he had to do was kind of manage the car here, back off his pace. And then when the lap time started to continue to go closer, right? That's when the 77 could try to push to get the advantage here. Now the tides have turned, right? And now, even though Wyatt Thompson has 15 lap older tires, he's actually running faster lap times than Kendora Davis in that number 9 machine. And actually starting to pull away just a little bit here from the 9 as we get underneath 10 laps to go here from Iowa Speedway. With 9 to go, all the 77 has to do is continue to run out smooth laps. No mistakes, right? Honestly, you have enough pace to just back off, right? Just get it home here with 8 to go. You know, 24 more corners here for this number 77 machine. And I'll say this, it's been a Goliath fight between, Giant versus Giant. Helms versus Thompson. Obviously tied right now in wins, I believe. 3 apiece. For Tyler Helms and Wyatt Thompson. Obviously, we saw Max Ford get his first win of the season, and then Joseph Enright win in that super speedway race at Talladega. But besides that, it's been really Tyler Helms versus Wyatt Thompson. And with something to go, looks like maybe the 77 will get put on top of the pedestal right now. It's been Tyler Helms being by far the guy to beat. But tonight, it's been by far the 77, right? It's been the 9 and the 77 who have been the 2 guys to beat. Tyler Helms wasn't even in the ballpark tonight for these 2 guys. And that's not something you'll hear me say a lot here in the Prestige Cup Series. Tyler Helms has done a fantastic job through these first 8 weeks. But today, the 77 to 9 just had something different. Travis Prather actually just made the move to get around Tyler Helms here for this P3 position. So this will be by far Prather's best finishing position here from Iowa. And remember, and I'm not going to say this track's an outlier because we do go to short tracks, but this track is definitely unique. A lot of the tracks we go to. This is kind of like a Darlington here, where there's not like a lot of short tracks that are like this on the service, really on any schedule, right? Iowa did a lot of work to repave it to make it drive a little bit differently than we're used to seeing here recently on the sim, and it's definitely made this track drive a lot more uniquely. It's not just a generic sport track anymore. It has character. It has, you know, a different way that you have to drive on it now. The Panther will come home with a good finish. He just has to, you know, complete these last 2 laps, but gotta give a round of applause to the 77. Knew what he was doing. Pitted early. Now, I'd be the one to say that he was kind of the guy who started this kind of pit cycle. Obviously, it was actually, I believe it was the 53. I mean, the 29. And the 19 who really started this pit cycle here. But Wyatt Thompson picked the right time to be strong here. Still go through 3 and 4 for the final time at Iowa. What a dominating performance out of the 77. Go ahead and give it to him. Wyatt Thompson wins his 4th race of the season. What a dominating win by the 77. Obviously, we'll have to see how many laps led he had. We'll see here. 41 of the 150. I think Kindoyan will beat him on laps led just because of how long he stayed out longer. But Wyatt Thompson, what a performance out of the 77. He was by far a top 2 car. Made the right pit strategy here. He'll get a burner down here on the front stretch here for your fans at home. Norrie Davis, his teammate, his team owner, coming and celebrating with him. And these two were by far the best 2 cars tonight. These Mach 5 guys. Putting on a show for you fans at home. Remember, this will put Wyatt on the top of the pedestal here for most wins here in season number 2 here. He'll actually eclipse Tyler Holmes for now here, but for the time being, with 4 wins, Tyler Holmes will drop back down to P2 and wins, and with his 3, and obviously Max Ford, Joseph Enright tied for P3 with those single wins apiece. What a performance out of the 77. I'm just continuing to burn it down here. Wait until he decides to end the celebration. Looks like you might have a... Oh, there it is. Finally loses it here. Down the front stretch. But continuing to burn it down, I mean, deservedly. This was a really cool race to call up here in the booth. Seeing, you know, how this pit strategy would come out to be. There goes the engine as we will get ready to start your post-race show. But we are going to take a quick commercial break and let our league sponsors / broadcast sponsors talk to you guys. But we'll be right back to start your post-race show on the other side of this commercial break.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
We welcome you back to the post race show here for season 2, race 9 of the Prestige Cup Series here from Iowa Speedway. We just saw Wyatt Thompson take home his 4th win of the season here in a kind of a fuel strategy race. It was going to be between him and the 90 Kendorian Davis. But 77 takes home the win tonight. Go ahead and talk to the 77 Kendorian. Of Wyatt Thompson. We'll see if we can jack him up here for his post race interview. Hey, Wyatt, is Christian up here in the HBTV booth? You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your 4th win of the season here from Iowa. And obviously, it looked like you and that 9, by far the 2 best cars in the field tonight. Looks like it just came down to that pit strategy of who was willing to come down pit road first. So obviously, we saw the 9, try to run it out quite a bit longer than you did. And looks like you were just being able to hold off with kind of as the tires, cliffed off there for the 9. You were able to hold on here to get your 4th win of the season.
Yeah, we had a pretty good race tonight. I think the first until that last pit stop, I was just kind of stuck behind him. I was definitely faster than him, I felt. It's just part of the next gen at Iowa. It's hard to pass here in the next gen car. The setup was pretty good tonight. It was a little bit tighter than most of us would have liked. But once we got on that final run, I had I think like a 5-10 second gap behind me, and I just let it come down, keep the right front on it. And then once we got to where Ken got his tires in the fall off window about lap 20 or so is where we stopped falling off. I was actually faster than him in the last about 10-15 laps or so.
And we mentioned on a broadcast that when he had a abundance of time to make up, and we saw that you weren't. We went on board with you a couple times. It seemed like you weren't really pushing the car at all. When did you kind of know? Obviously, we expected the 9 to react off of you coming out pit road, but when did you know you kind of had a opportunity to come and take it away? Like after him coming down, was there kind of a lap time where you saw him continue to stay out? Where you're like, okay, I might have this in the bag.
I think when I got about half a track away from him, I kind of knew I was not in a good situation like this, but I knew I was in a better situation, at least maybe fighting and being in front of him on new tires. Maybe that would have kept me up front on dirty air. We'll never know. But I think that once I got behind him and he pit from right in front of me, I think when I came back around to get the lead lap back, that he was just getting into his box. So I felt like I was doing pretty good there.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and it was really fun to see how the strategy played out there. But Kendori Davis obviously, finished at almost 4 seconds behind, and you talk about how the tires kind of equaled out towards the end. Do you really think you saving and saving and saving when you came back out, right, and you had that 4.5 second gap? Do you think that's what really helped you? At least it seemed like when you got around 4 seconds, the gap kind of stayed around there. He never really eclipsed back inside anywhere else. Do you think just you saving throughout that whole last run kind of helped you, you know, uh, keep it within that 4 seconds there?
I think it definitely did because most of my problem, he wasn't having that problem on exit, but I was sliding coming out of 4. I was sliding the right front, and in the middle of 1 and 2, and also kind of on the exit a little bit, the right front just kind of picked up and took off. I think that me saving and him having to come back and fight through traffic, just my right front alone was better, and that's kind of what kept us pretty even there.
It was definitely interesting to see him drive to the field, but like lucky for you, you didn't have nearly as much cars to get around, and I felt like that helped you get up into a good position where you win your 4th win of the season. And talking about that, obviously, it looked like it was kind of a pretty tight battle between you and Tyler Holmes. Um, at least for the battle for wins and stuff, you eclipse him with this 4th win. You know, talk us through, what it's like having to race with someone like Helms and just trying to keep up with that number 3 machine.
I think most of the time we're pretty even, and when we're close, I'm usually faster. I know there's most of his is just qualifying up front and then staying up front. Like I know Indy, Indy especially because I remember I was in the back, stuck in the back, and everyone was just kind of stuck where they were. We couldn't really do anything, especially Indy.
Yeah, you guys have definitely been close all season, and that really shows on the points here. Obviously, you came in 23 points behind. Obviously, this win will help you get closer. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how things go throughout the rest of the regular season. But once again, Wyatt, congratulations on your 4th win of the season here from Iowa. Before you let you go, anybody you want to shout out, thank, or appreciate here for this win tonight?
Appreciate you for streaming, man.
Well, we appreciate the words up here in the booth, and once again, we'll drag you back up, dude. Celebrate, get ready for next week, or do whatever you need to. But once again, congratulations. We appreciate your time up here in HV2 booth. Hopefully, we could talk to you more up here throughout the season.
Yes, sir. Hopefully. Thank you.
Accidentally cut White off there, but we appreciate his time up here in the booth. And congratulations to him and that whole 77 team on that win. We'll go ahead and talk to you. Obviously, someone who we thought might have had the win under the bags here, but let's go ahead and talk to the Knight of Kendorian Davis and see what his thoughts of the race were. Kendorian, it's Christian up here in the HV2 booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got a copy.
Well, P2 finish for you tonight. Obviously led the most laps tonight here from Iowa. Looked like you and that 77 were going to be the 2 cars to beat. Obviously, you two coming home 1-2 here from Iowa. Walk us through race. Walk us through, that thought behind, that different pit strategy that ended up getting you back here in the P2.
Well, early in the race, I definitely knew I had a really, really good car. I knew the track layout. This is one of my favorite places to come. For the most part, the 77 really wasn't a major concern of mine. I knew all I had to do was just try to put my car in the right position, and it would just hold him back. So that's what I was doing. Um, but when it came to that last cycle of pit stops, I went longer, expecting the tire advantage to be a bit bigger than what it was. So I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one. The 77 played that strategy perfectly, and it got him the win.
Obviously, we saw. And do you think this might have had something to do with it? I mean, obviously, Iowa such a short track, and it's not really difficult. It's not like a Phoenix where, it's kind of unique in its own way. But you lose 2 laps coming down pit road here. Do you think that might have had something to do with it?
I think so. I stayed out way too long. I had like in my mind, I was expecting the tire advantage to carry me because I stayed out like I think 9 or 10 extra laps. I expected my tire advantage to carry me a lot further than it actually did, and it just screwed me over. It's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, kind of a misjudgment. But do you think obviously you got there and it just kind of clean it off there with what 10 to go. Do you think maybe just you having to drive through the field or you have to navigate all the other cars versus, that 77 who could kind of just ride around and hope for the best? Do you think maybe, that helped, kind of almost made you kind of burn off your tires a little bit more than maybe you expected?
Oh yeah, it definitely did. I came off pit road in P9. I was pushing the car hard to try to get by everybody as fast as I could, and once I got into once I got to like 3 seconds from Wyatt, like 4 or 3 seconds from Wyatt, I couldn't do anything. The car just stalled out right where it was, and he just rode on off into the sunset.
Well, yeah, definitely. I feel like probably a learning experience for you going in. Obviously, it was kind of an unknown, right, with this new horsepower and everything else, and this new, aero package for the next gens here. Taking off the rear diffuser, up in the horsepower. Obviously, um, we didn't really talk to Wyatt about this, but what was kind of the difference here with this new aero package compared to um, last year we came here as well. What was kind of the key differences that separated these two packages away from each other?
Well, In my experience, the rear end definitely wanted to step out a bit more due to the horsepower. It I could feel it as I was coming off the corners, but it would kind of stabilize as I went. Also, the dirty air does seem like it's kind of worsened a little bit, but I don't know. It could have been just the car just getting tight too over a long run on old tires. But it definitely felt different. It felt a bit more, and like the car itself in general felt a little more loose in the rear end.
So in that case, do you feel like it maybe put kind of the car in more of the driver's hands now to manage the car a little bit more than older, packages here that we've seen here from Iowa?
Yep, definitely. Like I wouldn't say that with this setup because it's still like it really like it. Well, I'm not gonna say that, but with the right package and the right setup, I definitely feel like it would put things back in the driver's hands a bit, especially with the high tire wear that this track gives. It really can result. It really can have a result for some good racing with the right setup.
Definitely encouraging up here in the booth because I feel like that's part of the reason why we wanted, so many changes here, is especially here at these short tracks, just kind of sit in line and do stuff. But as long as we can continue to tweak the package and do everything to, put the car in the driver's hand and see the actual good drivers drive to the field, that's what we want to see. And hopefully we can continue to tweak it for the future and eventually, get some better racing out. But for you, obviously had a fast car tonight, gonna come home P2. Still a really good points night for you, but not gonna be able to get that first win of the season, but still a good run for you. You're gonna continue to drive your way up through the point standings here with a good finish, winning stage one and everything else. So congratulations to you on that finish and a good run tonight. But before we let you go, Kendorian, anybody you want to thank, shout out, or appreciate for this run tonight here from Iowa?
Yep, I definitely like to shout out my good friend and tonight's winner, Wyatt Thompson. I'd like to also shout out my other good friend, JJ Moore, who was race control tonight, and everybody here, all the other drivers that participate in Prestige that show up. We really appreciate you guys and appreciate you as always for broadcasting.
Well, we definitely appreciate the kind words up here in the HPTV booth. But we'll drag it back down to know, talk to your teammates, celebrate your win with your good friend of Wyatt, and hopefully we can continue to talk to you up here inside this podium spot here at the end of these races.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good rest of the night. Dorian Davis will come home P2, and we'll talk to you. Your third place finisher, Travis Prather. Obviously, didn't get to lead any laps tonight, but we'll go ahead and pull up another graphic for the driver of the number 58 here. Get all these things out of the way here. There we go. Go ahead and talk to the 58 here of Prather. Hey, Travis, it's Christian up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, podium finish for you and this whole 58 team. A really good, strong result for you here at Iowa. But, really quiet night for you and this 58 team. Obviously, drove your way up inside the podium position here on that last green flag run. Walk us through your race. Walk us through what got you up here in the third place tonight.
I knew I had a good car tonight. I messed up my qualifying, so I started from the back, and I stayed patient, just saved my tires because the tires were a huge part of tonight. And eventually I was able to just work my way up, passing one car at a time because they were all burning up their stuff, and eventually got to P3, which I'm pretty happy about.
Obviously, we see up 11 spots. The biggest move of the race is you in this 58 team. Walk us through, obviously, if anybody knows how to pass cars tonight, it was you. With the new horsepower, with everything, what was the differences of trying to get through the field tonight here from Iowa versus maybe some other short tracks you've raced at here with the older package?
This package, it felt like there was a lot more on the corner exits. Usually in the old 670 horsepower or whatever it was, it felt like you kind of just had to like sit behind them until they burned up their stuff because of the dirty air. Here, it wasn't a full 2 lanes, but you had a second lane you could get a run off of, and then especially down the front stretch, would be able to get a run off of 4 and pass them low into 1, which helped a lot because of I think that was mainly due to the new horsepower getting the runs off the turn.
And obviously, you talked about the dirty air here, how you had to sit in line. Does the dirty air kind of play less of a factor when it comes to passing here with the up horsepower?
I think it definitely is better than before, it is still definitely noticeable. Like every time I would pass a car, I'd start going 2/10 of a lap faster. But that is a lot better than being half a second slower and having no chance to get to them. You could definitely still get to their bumper and then set up a pass and get around them a lot easier in this new package. In my opinion.
Definitely, like I talked to Kenorin and he kind of had the same remarks, which is really good. I'd love to see that. As we're making strides to better the racing here at these short tracks, because obviously, like you said before, it's definitely been a little bit more difficult to just race and pass people and get around people. So it's definitely encouraging to hear, that it's a little bit easier, for the better drivers to get through the field.
Yep.
But obviously a P3 finish for you tonight, and looking into the points, have needed a couple of good runs to continue to point your way into, you know, securing your way into a playoff spot here. Um, you know, Obviously looking in the future, is there any tracks that you have circled on your calendar to, you know, continue to put together some good finishes?
Looking at the schedule, I've never raced Gateway, so that's gonna be a fun one for me. But New Atlanta, I should be good at. Kansas, I have some good experience at. I'm excited for Martinsville, the next Phoenix race, and Homestead. I think I'll be good at all of those races.
That's gotta feel good, and to have a couple of tracks here circled on the calendar to continue to put some good finishes together. But coming back to Iowa, a good P3 finish for you, and like I said, continuing to work your way up through the points here. But so congratulations on that. But before I let you go, Travis, anybody you want to shout out, thank, or appreciate here for this good run tonight here from Iowa?
I want to thank everybody I was in a call with. That was Carmelo, Peter, Jacob, Joseph, and probably somebody else I might be forgetting. If I am, I'm sorry. But yeah, they all kept it nice and fun throughout the night. And yeah, I appreciate them for sticking it out.
Obviously, teammates mean a whole lot here when you're running these races out. But once again, Travis, congratulations on the good run tonight. Hopefully, we can talk to you some more up here in the top three further down the season here as we continue to work our way into the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
Yep. You have a great rest of the night.
You too.
Travis Prather will come home P3 in that number 58 machine. And what a good, story here to see. I mean, we've seen Travis, he's shown some good speed, just has not had the luck I feel like he's wanted here in that number 58 machine. But we'll come home with a podium finish tonight. I believe that might be his first podium of the season. Well, they're updating points right now. His second top five, so good for him. To get another top five here from Iowa. While we get the opportunity to do, let's go ahead and take a look at our unofficial race results here from Iowa for the winner go home 150 powered by Iowa Corn Farmers. Obviously, we talked to your top three finishers tonight, 77-9 into 58. You see back there, Tyler Holmes continuing to put together a really good season. Obviously, he wanted to continue that streak of being in the top three every race. Unfortunately, will come home P4 um, for Tyler. Gabriel Goli will come home with the top five, and he continues to sneak out these good finishes and he continue to extend that, gap to the cutoff. Carmelo Echeverra back there in sixth in the 81 machine. Peter Hop P7. Nicholas Road. Peter Hoppy P7. My apologies, Peter. Nicholas Road P8. Colby Duckworth back there in ninth, and Joseph Enright rounds out the top 10. Looking at the rest of the field tonight, laps down. Christian Zarate back there in P11. Jacob Bryant 3 laps down. Jack Stanley 13th in that 95. 7 laps down back there in 13th, and out early. Jackson Brown, Jordan Fisher, Hayden Goalie, and Isaiah Fox. But, talking about the race, obviously, it was super entertaining, though, especially at the end there to see, the tire strategy, fuel strategy work its way up. I feel like Travis did a really good job. He pitted outside of Kendall, and he was one of the last people to pit and come down pit road there. He like Tyler and Gabriel Ngoli back there in fourth and fifth. They had 55 laps on that last stint versus, Travis, who had 46 laps. So stayed out a little bit later and pitted later and was able to drive his way through the field. So it's really cool to see how the different tire strategies were able to stack up against. And some people were able to jump up through the field there on that last run versus some who kind of dropped back or were able just to stabilize where I feel like they deserve to be. But definitely a fun race to call. And once again, congratulations to Wyatt Thompson as he continues to put on a career season here in week 2. Obviously, remember it took Wyatt a few races to get that first win under his belt, I believe, in season 1, and for him to come out here and just right out the gate, only 9 weeks in, 4 wins for that number 77 team. I mean, this is almost a Tyler Reddick-esque season for Wyatt Thompson and really for Tyler Helms. You can't really put down that number 3 machine as, you know, even though and it says something that a 4th place finish is probably, you know, a not good finish for Tyler, right? I mean, he's just been that good consistently throughout every week we've come here in the PRS Cup Series here for season 2, but it's definitely been a fun race to call. I look forward to seeing what they do next week here in week 10. But for everybody else up here in the HVTV booth and for everybody working for High Velocity TV, my name is Christian Elgato, lead producer and commentator for tonight's race. We appreciate everybody for coming out. If you guys are looking for any broadcasting help, if you guys are looking, if you guys are watching here and are new to the channel and are looking to have us broadcast your league, um, if you're looking to maybe join a team and come up here and maybe have a go up here in the commentary excuse me, in the commentary booth, in the commentary booth, you're looking to, potentially produce for us here on the channel. We do pay our producers a little bit more than anything else here on the channel. So if that's something you're interested in, or if you're an up and coming graphic designer looking to, get into like a network type of situation, if you're looking to maybe, do something like this as a career path for or, real life stuff, whether it's for NASCAR or, Flow Racing, Racing America, IMSA, IndyCar, or any of like some big corporations like Fox, NBC, Prime, any of that, right? We are, looking for graphic designers to give you guys an opportunity to, get a foot into the door and, just show off your talent to try to get some experience in a network type situation, obviously here on the simulator. But once again, I appreciate everybody for coming out. If you wouldn't mind, um, dropping a like on the broadcast tonight and potentially even sharing it with friends and family, we'd very much appreciate it. And if you enjoyed any part of the broadcast, please consider subscribing over to the High Velocity TV network over there on YouTube. And if you are watching over on twitch.tv/ChristianBoss13, a follow would also mean a lot over there as well. But for everybody over here in the High Velocity TV broadcast booth, we appreciate everybody for coming out here for week 9 of the PRS Cup Series here from Iowa Speedway. Once again, my name is Christian Legato, your lead producer, commentator. We'll be back on tomorrow for the AWC Pro Series as they continue to round out through the regular season. And then we'll be back on Saturday as well as we go to Martinsville, I believe, for the ISNF Cup Series as they round out their regular season. I believe they only have 2 races left in the regular season there on Saturdays. But yeah, we appreciate everybody for coming up back on. We hope everybody has a great rest of their Thursday, and we will see you guys sooner rather than later. Hope everybody has a great rest of the night, and we'll see you soon.